Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from MagooInvesting. Today we're going to be continuing the Robinhood Top Stocks series, and today we're going to be talking about Square, ticker symbol SQ. And so Square is a company that's more of a financial services company for the small businesses, and their big thing is they have the ability to add a card reader to, say, an iPad. So there's a lot of places around. I live in a college town currently, and there's a lot of smaller coffee shops that you go into, and their cashier is just an iPad with a Square attached to the bottom of it. And you can swipe your card, and it's a lot easier, and I think it saves them on the processing fees. And so Square in the past year has been very up and down. And there was a couple months ago where I remember my dad reached out and he asked, hey, I know that you've talked poorly about Square in the past. Why is the stock doing so well? And I told him that even though the stock is doing well, I would not touch it. And since then, it has fallen a lot. And so this is going to be another example of kind of doing some research and figuring out what the main competitor of Square is. And in my opinion, it's PayPal, and more specifically with their program Venmo. And so Venmo, I think, is a better version of what Square is. It's mainly for person-to-person transactions instead of small business-to-person transactions. But I mean, I pay rent with Venmo. I pretty much pay all my friends if we go out. Maybe I cover dinner and then they pay me back on the app. And I think that Square is not the best option out there. And so this is one of I haven't talked about my requirements for taking a position on a stock. And the ones that we talk about a lot are a well-known company. It's lower on its price range because of bad earnings or bad news. And then the one that I don't talk about as much is I have to feel confident in the stock. And that kind of goes along with the knowing what the stock is. But if you're confident that the stock has a good product, which is why I've taken a position in Tesla, PayPal in the past, and Yeti, I know that they've had a good product, and I'm not really worried about bad news coming out. And so when we go talk about Square, I'm going to have to take that into account while we break it down. And so in this episode, I'm going to be going over onto the charts, talking about what I see as a short-term and long-term potential plays for myself, and kind of see what the charts are showing us. And before we do that, I've got to say I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so I'd highly recommend talking to a professional, someone that can give you the best advice for what to do with your money going forward in investments. So finally, let's head on over to the computer and talk about Square, ticker symbol SQ. So as always, we're going to be starting it off on Robinhood today. We're going to be sliding down for the top stock of the day. Let's keep going down. Square, ticker symbol SQ. Currently sitting at 58.50, down 0.5% on the day with 78,000 people owning the stock. So as we go over here, 1 week down 7.5 or 7.25%. 1 month is green. 3 month is down a lot. 1 year is around 20% down, and then 5 years is up 422%. So their forecast on here is 41% buy, 49% hold, and then 10% sell. Looks like earnings are coming out November 6th. That's always something to watch, as I've been burned by that too many times. So here we are looking at the long-term charts on TD Ameritrade. And the first thing I see is, wow, it's steadily gone up, and then it fell out of the sky pretty fast. It's recovered since then and then fell back again. So let's go to a shorter time frame and try to start drawing some support and resistance lines. First thing that's coming out to me right here is this support line. So let's get the drawing tool out and let's draw that as a nice little range. So if I had seen this and saw it come back to retest it right here, I might have taken a position there because that looks like a very nice retest, pushed above and then fell through it. So the next thing I'd be looking at is somewhere down here. I'll call it those wicks there. And so I'll set a alert there at or below in case it reaches there, because if it comes down, retest this and pushes up, this would have been a nice trade for a nice little double bottom where it came down, pushed back up, retested the support, and then pushed up even higher. So might be something to watch in the future for a shorter term play. But man, this fall from $83 down to $62 in around a week kind of scares me a little bit. And so that was from earnings. And with earnings coming up at the beginning of next month, that is kind of a ticking time bomb in my opinion. And then let's go long term. And so long term, it's got the track record of being very steady. The things that are worrying me is this incredible push up to $100, the fall out of the sky, recovery, and then falling. And so you've got a higher high from here and a higher low, so it looks like you have a potential wedge forming, and until that breaks out either up or down, kind of scares me a little bit. Just kind of the range seems to be condensing, and for a long-term play, I would not want to be on either side of that. Just kind of waiting for something to give, and I just don't know what I'd be wanting to happen here. We've got a little support here, so we'll draw our resistance up here. So I guess that would be the medium or long-term price target, as this 100 level did not last for very long. Let's see, the moving averages are kind of just weaving back and forth, so it doesn't really tell you anything from there. Let's see if we find any more supports here. Yeah, we'll call that one there. I'll set an alert for that as well. But yeah, overall, there's just a lot of things going on here and a lot of uncertainty that I would not want to be a part of. You have the upcoming earnings. You kind of have this seesaw back and forth motion, which is good for support and resistance, but it just, I don't know, it fell from 100 all the way down to 50 pretty fast, went up to 75, 80, came down, and it just keeps, I don't know, I just can't find a direction with this stock, and as a result, I probably would not be risking it by taking a trade on this stock. In addition, as I talked in the beginning of the video, I think that you've always got to take into account the competition. And so we're going to go take a look at PayPal, which has been one of my favorite stocks since I started trading. As you can see, my first trend line was drawn around here. So this was May of 2018. And so this was, I first started trading it around $75, rode it up to 100, and then have ditched it ever since. But I would be watching for this break down to this upper bound of a previous resistance that now may be working as a support. But I just think that PayPal has a better track record. It has moved up very high, kind of similar to how Square has, but the moves up and down have not been as drastic. And then when we go and look at Square's price forecast, it's kind of all over the place. It seems to agree with me in the fact that it seems to be seesawing back and forth between it wants to push higher and it wants to fall even further. And so down 49% as its low range and up 67% kind of feels like a flip of a coin. And when we're investing like this, we're trying to find places to put our money that have the best chance of success. And if you're kind of flipping a coin, I don't think that's the best option for you. And so that kind of makes me hesitant to take a long-term position on Square. And then on Yahoo Finance, it has it as overvalued, down in the short, medium, and long term, but for some reason their analysts have it as a buy. So overall, Square, let's go back to the chart. Square. Overall, Square is just kind of too volatile for me, which is kind of hard to believe, until it comes back and retests this zone down here. I'll set an alert for that as well. Until it tests the bottom of its recent range, this is not a stock that I'll be taking a position on anytime soon. So overall, Square is a type of company that's kind of could go either way. And so based off of the charts, it's kind of sitting at like 35% of its 52-week range. So there's plenty of upside if it goes back to where its highs were, but the price forecast has a really low end, down 40% and then up 50% as the price forecast. So that's a really wide range. Kind of feels like you're flipping a coin. And then the long-term price analysts on Yahoo Finance have everything in the red. And so Square is not something that I will be taking a position in currently. And one of the big reasons is I think that its competitors do a better job at its product than Square does. And so you may have a different opinion on that, but just from what I've seen and in my experiences, I think that PayPal is a better option for a peer-to-peer or a company or a smaller company to a person transactions, and that's just my personal opinion. I just think that Square is not great at what it does. I've had a lot of problems with it in the past, and that kind of grudge that I hold against Square is one of the main reasons why I won't be taking a position in this company pretty much for the upcoming future. Based on the charts, there's a couple support and resistance lines that I talked about that may be intriguing, but just based off of all the other factors going against it, I will not be taking a position in Square going forward. Let me know what you think about the company, if you saw something in the charts that maybe I did not, or if you have a similar or different experience with the company than I do. I'm kind of biased on this one, as I've never really had a good experience with Square, but other people probably have differing opinions on the company, and I'd love to hear them in the comment section down below. In addition, if you have a company or an idea that you'd like me to go over about investing and in the stock market or even financial planning, please leave that in the comment section down below, and I'd love to go over it. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.